Hello and welcome to another Tour de Zwift live. The next stage of the Tour de Zwift kicks off in a matter of hours. Set your watches, set your iCals, make sure you're ready for it. And if you're here, I'm here. We've got some Zwift pros who are currently warming up, running around their houses, trying to find where they put the heart rate straps. And we've got a Rhea Hubble.
Hey.
It must be time for a show. Hello, Rhea.
How are you?
I've eaten too much sushi before the show, if I'm going to be totally honest.
I might have captioned and captured that moment,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
that.
Yeah,
Thank
no.
you, thank you, thank you. You look very sprightly, of which I don't feel. Now, thousands of you have been riding, racing, or indeed running the Tour de Zwift this year. It's the biggest event of the year on Zwift, visiting all 7 worlds, and there are still 2 stages to go. It is worth mentioning that if someone maybe has missed a stage, there will be a makeup week at the end. No excuses not to complete it and earn that kit if you can get it. Rhea, I may have just given it away that you have missed a couple of stages.
Yeah, like maybe 3.
3 stages?
Yeah, so far. In my defense, the first 2, I was abroad. So
You could have taken a turbo trainer with you as
Yeah.
carry-on luggage. You managed to try and get that up into the bin above your head.
I probably could have played that cool.
Yeah.
No.
So you missed them. When are you going to make
missing-
them up then?
Definitely when...
You're definitely going to, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we deserve that jersey, given the fact we have been presenting throughout the series.
We have, and I am getting super obsessed. If you go onto the companion app, you actually get the colours when you've completed the course. It
I
adds
know.
up. I'm getting so nerdy about that.
Well, I'm annoyed. I've only got 2.
I got all 5 so far. Now, we've been asking you to share your Tour de Zwift experiences with us. We've had some more in this week, some pain faces. Let's take a look of some pain faces. Salmon.
Ooh.
I mean, he looks like he's just been fished out of the water by a bear.
Red, isn't he? He's
As he
done
swims
well
upstream.
there.
Quent VCS, I mean, that is a man. He is sat on the floor, isn't he?
Yeah.
He has slid off his bike.
He has collapsed and is now in utter pain and disbelief, I believe.
I love those frame things. Look who this
well,
is.
hello. Yeah, I'm in agony there.
Great pain cave, by the way.
Thanks, buddy.
Thumbs up from Rhea. This was the race we did together.
That was, the Watopia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tour de Zwift Stage 3.
It was stage 3.
Yeah.
You did, which you lost the group trying to super tuck.
Oh, God, I was so annoyed. We were on Discord, and I was like, oh, my God, I've got the super tuck working. This is amazing. And then suddenly did half of a revolution and lost it and got dropped from the group. I was so annoyed because I was right on your wheel.
Pro tip, don't do half a revolution.
No, or try something new in a race.
I always try it new in a race.
No.
I like a super tuck. Big fan of it. Now, Matt Stevens, well, he's made his own alternate pain face. More on that later on, which is going to be exciting to see. But we want to keep your pain faces coming in. You can do that using the hashtag Tour de Zwift, hashtag Tour de Zwift. Show us your pain faces. If it's during the ride, then you're better with a phone than I am. Or if it's post-race, then obviously we'll see them there. And because this is not a TV show, we're doing it via the magic of the internet. We are in the stream. We can see your chats as you're going on. Any questions for Rhea or myself, make sure you stick them in there. Lots of people at the moment trying to see who is going to do well in the race as it comes up. Hello to Niels. Hello to Johnny. Hello to Barry. Now, on Monday, we featured the elite women racing on the New York course, and it was a nail-biting race. The course is a complete brute.
Yes.
I raced it. It was harder than Bologna. I almost lost it at a couple of times. But the women, when they raced it, it was fascinating, Rhea.
It was fast and furious, but what for me, it's the course. It's so undulating, so it doesn't look like it's going to cause too much of an issue, but those little bumps just catch you off guard. And yet again, we had the DBR domination. They're just taking the series by storm, aren't they?
Dominating bike riders. I mean, they showed again, and we've talked about this in every one of these live shows that we've done, that racing on Zwift is a combination of being good, being fit, but it's also about knowing tactics, and those tactics include when you use your power-ups, which just gives it a whole nother level. And we saw DBR do exactly that. Their timing was amazing, and you called it that it wasn't just tactics in the race, it was tactics beforehand. They had plans.
Totally. I think that they've spent a lot of time understanding the course, really making sure that they are communicating on some sort of channel whilst they're racing, so something like Discord, and adapting as to what's going on in the race. And you could see that by the timings that they used, reacting to certain power-ups other riders were using. It was a pretty amazing spectacle to watch.
What we saw as well was not just the great tactics from DBR and from Zwift as well, ZCC, was the quite poor tactics from the other teams. And Danny, who was with me last time, was saying that if you've got a group and you've got 4 riders from one team and 3 from
Three from
another.
another.
Don't ride on the front. What are you doing? In real life, you wouldn't do it in a race, so don't do it in Zwift.
It was almost half the pack was 2 teams, and so the other riders were like 1 rider from each team. So in that circumstance, what you really want to do is get in behind and make those 2 teams do all the work, and hopefully that will allow you to maybe grab a sprint or grab a queen or king of the mountain, and that just didn't happen with those racers. And that could be down to anything from experience or feeling strong enough to want to try and take them on, and just getting those timings wrong.
Well, we'll see what happens with the next race, because the elite men are here in T-minus 9 minutes. They'll be racing around the Richmond course. They're getting warmed up right now, and I like this. This is where we get a little look into their world. So let's have a look and see who we have got as we spy in. This is Holden, who currently right now he's on, look at his little in-ear headphones. And he's not wearing a cycling top. He's got an actual T-shirt on. That's going to be sodden by the end of it, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think it's always a preference. It could be like an undershirt rather than a jersey.
Outdoors?
He might be, actually,
That's Holden there from Indoor Specialist. Jonathan Levi is our next. Look at that.
Wow.
World is in. Hello, Jonathan.
Cycling is doing him the world of good.
Yeah, that is a beautiful. It looks like Wayne's basement from Wayne's World, but with some nicer pictures on the walls. Jonathan Levi there. Yes, 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 my friend. And I think we've got one more feed we can have a look at. This is, who's this? This is Tom Getz. This is almost a prison feed, almost.
It almost looks like my old pain cave.
It does. I love it. Do you know what? I like a beautifully laid out pain cave, as we've seen already, but sometimes just jumping in the garage, it's gritty, you've got bits around, old beds in the corner.
Yeah.
And this is Lionel, who is, he's just moved out of frame as he makes his camera look better, ready for us.
Yeah,
so we know he looks good in the race. Look at him.
There he is.
Do you know, I don't think I've ever seen anyone wear a headband better.
He's also so casual.
Yeah.
His last feed, I just looked at him and thought, it doesn't look like you're pushing any watts. You're just too cool for school.
You say that, but after the last race in Bologna, where he went absolutely all guns blazing up that climb, he was lay out on the ground afterwards. It was an unbelievable effort.
I'm glad to see the post report isn't quite the same as the game tactics.
Pain faces,
Exactly.
absolute pain faces. Now, we've mentioned it before, but for the first time this year, you can choose to ride or run the 7 stages of Zwift. Matt Stevens went to have a peek around the pain cave of someone who knows a little bit about both.
Have you ever wondered what the inside of a pro triathlete's pain cave looks like? Yeah? Well, so have I.
For 3 years running from 2017, triathlete Lucy Charles-Barclay has placed second in the Ironman World Championships at Kona. In 2018, she finished the swim leg in the fastest ever recorded time for a female athlete. Swimming is her strongest sport, and apparently she's got a thing about mermaids.
Hey, come in.
Cheers. Oh, wow. This is incredible. Lucy, what's this mermaid thing all about?
Since I was little, I was obviously a swimmer and I was just obsessed with mermaids. Last year, I actually got to do a shoot where I was a mermaid. Obviously, as a triathlete, my swim is probably my strongest discipline, so I do often get called the mermaid.
Kona is the next big triathlon for you. How much does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, as a long-distance triathlete, Kona is like the ultimate race. I've been second 3 years in a row now. It's getting a bit frustrating, so the ultimate goal is to go and win that race, and yeah, that's what I'm striving for.
Here inside your pain cave, you've got everything that you need to train to be a triathlete.
Yeah, so I'm in here pretty much every day of the year, swim, bike, running. I can do everything I need to in these 4 walls, so it keeps my job a little bit easier.
Give me a number. How many hours do you do?
I'm probably training in excess of 35 hours a week. I do probably 90% of my riding on Zwift in here.
90%?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's busy where I live, so it's just safer and more efficient to just be on Zwift. I've got treadmills in here, bikes in here, so I'm pretty much living in these 4 walls every day of the year. Now, Matt, I know you were a cyclist. Speaking of training, when was the last time you ran?
I've recently had a pretty significant birthday, so I have to get my calculator out and work this out. It's 35.
35 days?
No.
35 months?
No.
Years?
Yeah, it really has been that long. I used to be a runner as a youngster, then I got injured and my dad suggested I take up cycling, so I did, and the rest is history, really.
Well, we better get you on Zwift then. We've got our iPad, treadmill and foot pod, so that's going to track your speed throughout.
And my avatar's warming up for me. Now, I know for the first time ever, running has been included in the Tour de Zwift, which is great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. The biking took off so much, but now we have the running here. To be on the treadmill, and actually have a community that I can be getting kind of some support from on the way through is really, really helpful. And it just gives you something else to look at, keep you a bit more interested. Okay, Matt, time to show you how it's done.
Well, as many of you know, I can cycle and talk at the same time. I've had plenty of practice at that, but running and talking at the same time, I think I need to work on it a little bit. But thanks very much, Lucy. Can we stop now? Knackered.
One thing that comes up for me there is I didn't realise Matt Stevens used to be Mick Hucknall
No.
from Simply Red. And secondly, you know he said that he can run and talk at the same time?
Yes.
Well, can he? Because we also have this, which he posted himself. Check this out. So this is Matt Stevens running on the treadmill. Okay. Oh! £250 from You've Been Framed. Thank you very much. Look at the red badge of courage on his knee.
Yes, indeed. But did you notice something else
No.
with his red badge? I believe he has his own gift.
Does it? Yes, he does. Oh, Matt Stevens. Matt Stevens. Actually, talking of him, as we get into this week's stage, we need to take a look at the world. So let's take a look at Richmond. Here is Matt Stevens with all the information.
Welcome to Richmond and stage 6 of the Tour de Zwift. The Richmond UCI World Route is a replica of the 2015 UCI Road World Championships course in Richmond, Virginia, USA. And it was at this race where Peter Sagan famously attacked on 23rd Street to eventually win his first World Championships jersey. For this stage, all riders will be on the UCI Worlds course, with the A group doing 2 laps and the rest of the groups doing a single lap. The UCI Worlds course starts off nice and flat before the course starts to get harder, with steep climbs up Libby Hill, 23rd Street, and then the final long drag up Governor Street to the finish line. The runners will be enjoying the flat sections of this world by running along the Richmond flat route, a nice run out to and along Monument Avenue, all the way to the finish point at the sprint banner. You'll enjoy!
It's a wonderful course. It's wonderful looking as well. I remember watching it in the World Championships and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Talk us through today's race, Raya.
Well, we are looking at a direct replica of the UCI World Champs, and it is a one-loop race, which is pretty important to note because it's a flat course to start with 3 short, sharp rises at the end.
It really is going to be a race of 2 halves, isn't it? You've got the flat, fast bit at the beginning, then you've got the climbing. You said it is a team race, and obviously we've got the KOMs and the sprint points. Let's take a look at the teams, Raya. Who are you looking at today?
Canyon ZCC having taken this stage win in the first stage and second in the second stage, and Indoor Specialist, the community team, doing incredibly well. Also look out for Fusion.
And then we've got the riders to watch as we are now just 1 minute away from this race starting. Pick a name there. Who's winning this today? Who's coming over the line first?
Oh, gosh, that's hard to call. But Lionel Visagin's been doing really, really well. We've got a feed on him today, and also look out for a Holden Camo.
A quick blast through the power-ups, which are going to be important in this way. Aero, as always, lightweight for the climbs at the end, and invisibility if you're going to try and get away on the climbs. Right then, we are just 45 seconds away from this, the 6th race of the Tour de Zwift Live starting. I'm so excited.
Yep.
I'm so excited. So
Ready?
Let's get it underway as we head to North America. We'll hand over to the first of our 2 commentators, and that is Nathan Guerra. Nathan, my man, it is over to you.
Thank you so much, OJ and Raya. Amazing pre-show. Welcome everybody to the 6th stage of the Tour de Zwift with the ProAm Racing. I got Matt Stevens going to be with me on the commentary. Now, quick, before we do jump into the race, we're going to talk a little bit about the results from Bologna. I'm going to hand over to Matt for some information about that.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Nathan. But following the performance verification at the end of the Bologna race, it's been confirmed that the winner has actually been disqualified. Now, as a result of that, Vitus were crowned the winners in the final confirmed results. Now, verification is undertaken by the Zwift Accuracy and Data Analysis, which is ZADA for short, and this happens at every single Zwift sanctioned race. And on this occasion, the rider failed to provide data sufficient to validate his performance. So there you go, Nathan.
Thank you so much, Matt. But let's get right on into the racing here. We got one lap, Matt. This is going to be on the UCI Richmond World course. It was a great course preview that you guys put together. And this is going to be, I think, extremely tactical about the objectives. You know, a lot of times we talk a little bit about having a situation where we might see a breakaway situation. My prediction is that there's so much talent here that the teams are just going to be completely focused on each one of the sprint points in all the KOMs today.
Yeah, and I think the unique thing about this race, I mean, we've seen the men race on this course before, but they do 2 laps. This is going to be fast and furious from the off. And as OJ said at the top, this really is a race of 2 halves. And I don't think we can emphasize that enough. Pretty flat start and then those 3 climbs at the end. Let's not forget that the final drag to the line is a really nasty effort. It's kind of 2.5 minutes of effort. And then those 2 spikes beforehand up Libby Hill and 23rd Street. But we've got 4 sprints, 4 lots of points to be gathered before the finish line. So as we discussed before we came on air, Nathan, it's going to be very, very interesting to see the way that the teams deploy their tactics, their resource, of course, in relation to gathering as much points as possible, as many points as possible. Let's not forget, and a reminder to people maybe tuning in for the first time, this is, okay, you got first across the line, but essentially this is a team race. The team that gathers the most points is the winner.
Yeah, and each one of those sprint points are definitely going to be mattering up front here. Now, we do have Holden Camille here on the screen. This is the reigning national champion of the USA on Zwift, and definitely has quite the sprint. He's been known to have one of the best kicks in the world of Zwift racing. So I'm definitely watching out for him, for indoor specialists to be setting him up well for those sprint sections. It's almost as if Cryogen were listening in on the stream as we were talking about not having any kind of early kicks. And we saw Merritt with a little bit of a kick off the front there for a moment. So perhaps a few of these riders are going to be looking for this little uphill gradient section. We're going to hit some cobbles here and maybe give it a go. We'll have to wait and see, though. Now, Lionel Viasen making his way to the front, and that is definitely a great prediction that I heard from Ray beforehand. Lionel Viasen had one of the most amazing performances this past week in one of the community races in Amsterdam, live event, and I saw him absolutely go against all odds, coming back and winning the race. Watch out for Viasen today. I think he is really on fire as they head into this next flat section of the course. The first sprint is going to be coming up pretty quickly here, as we do have a little bit of attack though already off the front. It's going to be Merritt again, and this rider is not letting up. He really wants to break things up early.
Yeah, he certainly does. Some big numbers being put out. Again, this is a kind of interesting race to see who's going to deploy their resources throughout the race. But what happens within that? Teams have clearly got tactics. We know that teams are going to be communicating with each other. Many of these teams have directors sportifs, managers telling the guys what to do. But within that, there are opportunities to attack. As teams kind of hold back before these sprint points, remember 4 of those before the finish, that opens the door for other riders to go clear.
Yeah, and I am seeing Merritt trying to go off the front here. There may be some sort of a tactic with this attack here, Matt, that they are trying to perhaps use him as a carrot to chase, to get these other teams to maybe waste a little bit of energy and chase him down. Now, he is definitely one of the stronger riders out on the team, though. 127 races out on Zwift, a level 32 Zwifter here. So we'll see if Merritt can hold off, though. He does have a little bit of a gap. It looks like about 3 seconds here at this point with this group, though, that's about to open up an all-out sprint in I would say about a K&a-half or so. I don't think this is going much of anywhere.
Indeed. Well, just look at the numbers there that the Merritt is actually putting out. He's holding he's opened it up to 3 seconds, back down to 1 second, but he's holding 7 watts a kilogram, Nathan. That is a lot of power, and it's just been reabsorbed by the bunch. Now, that's unsurprising. Very difficult for one rider to try and stay in front holding those sorts of numbers. But as you said, what it's done is put the other teams on the back foot. They couldn't afford to let him go, and he's back in the fray. Zimmerman near the front, the former American Zwift champion too. This field is absolutely packed with current and previous national champions, and still big numbers being put down.
Yeah, and we just did see just a moment ago, around this 180-degree turn is going to be the first sprint section. Already we do see the team starting to ramp things up. It's a little bit early to actually go, so this is actually the lead-out situation where they're just trying to keep the space high and find the right position. Ollie Jones now, the Zwift Academy finalist, making his way to the front. Canyon ZCC opening up 8 watts per kilogram. Here come all the power-ups. What is going to be favored here? Most likely an arrow power, but maybe a feather might be able to take it out here. Zimmerman going 12 watts per kilogram. No power-up coming from him. Lionel Viasen coming over the top here. Now this is 10 points across the line for the team. 10 all the way way down to 1. Austin trying to hold 12 watts per kilogram. Simon Nielsen Fusion looking to come through, and it looks like it might have been Nielsen just nipping the indoor specialist, I believe, that was right alongside him there. Let's take a quick look here, and it was Nielsen with Doving, followed up by Larson actually from the indoor specialists. Hodges comes through from Evoke, and then it's going to be low for Fusion. Vyazin there leading things out, but ends up in 6th as he fades to the line. Ostenfeld followed up by Mazzone, and then Ollie Jones and Young from Canyon ZCC. The only pro team from in real life making the top 10 there is going to be Mazzone from Vitus Pro Cycling.
Yeah, Tom Mazzoni normally plies his trade on the Isle of Man. Actually went out for a ride with him a few weeks ago. Very, very strong rider, good at cyclocross as well, which is, of course, is suited. This is the situation on the team points, Nathan, following that sprint. Fusion taking it from Evo Bike, and then Team X in 3rd place. So lots of teams getting in the mix, as we have Alex Patton on the front, a former junior national cyclocross champion in the UK, and loves this sort of event.
Now we do have a counterattack there also coming there from Canyon BH there. So interesting to see that. I think that this is probably a setup after that sprint situation. Canyon might be giving a little bit of an attack to counter when everybody's heart rates are a little bit high. Perfect timing here as we saw Patton followed up by Coleman giving a little kick. This may be a situation to get away, but the downhills and these flatter sections can be very difficult with the kind of talent we have here. Tarling from Roland King now shutting things down, and maybe Merritt going to give it a go again. A lot of riders up and out of the saddle here in the top 4. So Jonathan Levi we're looking at here now. It looks like we should have a live cam here coming up. 186 speed sprint, looking to maybe bring that heart rate down. Looks pretty focused. Maybe he's able to keep it calm and keep all the pain off the face there. So he's looking fairly not under a whole lot of duress at 184 beats per minute.
That's amazing. I do love these little shots from inside. That's an amazingly appointed living room. But again, yeah, he looks pretty relaxed at the moment, just hovering at around 300 watts, just under 290, just around 5 watts per kilo. That just shows, Nathan, the level that these athletes are at. To do well at elite levels, Zwift racing, should I say, you do need to be able to hold some big powers. So it shows that he has got a lot more in the tank, as we just see Bird now moving to the front. Ribble, Simon Wilson from Ribble as well. Ribble, previously a very successful team on Zwift racing. And again, we've still got the next hotspot sprint to come. And then we have that little drop down before the 3 final climbs of the day. And of course, in real life, they are cobbled climbs, making them even more difficult. But we've got another little cheeky move off the front, I think, there, Nathan, from one of the riders from Vitus Pro Cycling.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a move there. A lot of riders were really trying to set up here through this section. I think that is trying to find the right position. It'll be a left-hand turn, a little bit of a straightaway, followed up by a right-hand turn immediately into the next sprint section. So they're definitely going to be looking to not lose some wheels. Sometimes on the turns here, some of the avatars can kind of move a little bit to the left, move a little bit to the right, and lose a wheel. So they're going to try and keep their power and their speed as high as they can to not lose anything. But it is going to be McGlinchey, the rider that was able to go on Bologna and come up over the top there and actually take the official win on the day. McGlinchey definitely on the attack here, or at least keeping the speed very high to set things up well. Here we are into that straightaway right-hand turn. Now opening up, it's going to be Coleman. Brad Gavaris, actually from Cryogen out of South Africa, has a very strong sprint, actually. 6.0 watts per kilogram currently coming from him. Maybe Cryogen setting up for the second sprint. Here comes Vyazin, though. Vyazin coming from way early, actually. Kicks into 15 watts per kilogram. Immediately gets a little bit of a gap. Nobody really has any kind of draft him at this point, but he has no power up, it looks like, to be using. Will he hold on at 12 watts per kilogram? It looks like he may be doing so, but Brad Gavaris coming through. Here comes, it looks like McGlinchey from Vitus Pro, though, with that arrow power up into 14 watts per kilogram. A very well-timed kick there from the pack, and I think he used that momentum perfectly. Larson, who took the first sprint, though, will come through for second, it looks like, followed by Podsy from Team Experimental. Levi right there in fourth, maybe nipping at the line. Let's see how that ended up playing out. McGlinchey, Larson, followed up at Podsy line, Levi, Bugard Gavaris, Gardner, Vyazin there, going early, but again, fading, it looks like, with those early attacks. I think that had a lot to do with the power-ups, though, perhaps, is why he went, but McGlinchey, perfectly timed, obviously.
Yeah, that wasn't just perfectly timed. I mean, he did the aero power-up, which is the power-up that everybody wants when it comes to sprinting, but he was putting out 11, 12 watts per kilo, and I was looking closely at the kind of power numbers the other riders were putting out. He was nowhere near them, so he was way in front. And there's the team point standings just come up. So indoor specialist there, 22, Team X17, Fusion ECT with 16. Then we have Vitus and Canyon ZCC. Some of the bigger teams here, maybe just holding back a little bit on the sprints, maybe saving it towards the back end of this course. We've got this little descent now. This is where the speed picks up a little bit. This is the part of the course that you can actually rest just a little bit, stay in the wheels, as we see Gardner just drifting off the front with with a little 2-second lead. Tanner just in second place. It looks like he's going to be reabsorbed. But now we are now entering the second part of this race, and we have the climb of Libby's Hill and 23rd Street yet to come.
Indoor specialists, I think they've been doing a little bit of homework recently. I think they were a little frustrated with some of their results from the past couple of races. And I mean, with that kind of a name, they're going to be trying to show up and show off that this is what their focus is all about here. Team Experimental coming through with some consistency, as well as Fusion ECT. And again, as we said beforehand, it is about consistency, about getting as many riders as you can into those top spots. And if you have enough of them, it might not be about the first across the line. So it looks like the teams like Fusion and Experimental are doing a good job with that. Obviously, Vitus Pro Cycling jumping up into those standings, though, with that result from McGlinchey. As they head into the downhill, it's going to be super high speeds into the industrial park, a left-hand turn in a moment here along the river, and then we get into really the pointy end of the race. One lap. So, man, this is everything you got for about 20 minutes or so, really, when it comes down to finding those perfect timings when it does really, when the pressure really comes on. And that's going to be those KOMs. Libby Hill's going to be coming at us before we know it.
Indeed. Well, this is this part just down by the industrial, running alongside the river. There's a couple of tiny little drags here. In a moment or so, in about 500 meters, there's a nasty little ramp, which you really need to lean on to get over. Then it drops down again. Then we've got that real kind of dogleg turn. And actually, although the climb of Libby's Hill is only categorized as 600 meters, as you know, Nathan, it actually drags for a kilometer before the climb itself. So it's very, very important that these riders try and get in a decent position. You don't want to be too far back, because I think we're going to see riders going very, very early on this climb to try and split things up.
We do have Cryogen on attack, actually, just before what you said here. This little bit of a kicker for just a moment. Got to put some power into it, and Whale goes with Merritt. Set up very well. Two Cryogen riders obviously coordinating this attack to try and make something happen early. Maybe try to loosen up the legs of a few of the other riders before they hit the climbs proper here. We'll see if it does force any of the teams to do anything. Doesn't look like it's had to force out too much of a response, though, from the other teams. Maybe just a little bit of TV time there for Cryogen. But it looks like McGlinchey shutting things down right along with Coleman, as well as Skoplinski from Team Poland. So at the front, though, again, Townsend coming over the top. It looks like Canyon BH here trying to control things for sure. Canyon Blorholms followed up by now Clayton as well from Team Ribble. So the pro teams here really controlling things, it looks like, a little bit better than we've seen in some of the other stages.
Yeah, just trying to make sure they're at or near the head of affairs. It won't be long before they swing down to the left as we look at Jonathan Levy again, still just pushing. He looks like he's out for a club run, and he's still pushing 5 watts a kilo. Clearly has got a little bit, fair bit left in the tank, of course, from the KISS racing team. Looking at the other teams moving to the front, you can just see that really dynamic red and purple kit with those Zs, of course, of Canyon ZCC, one of my favorite kits, of course, for the pro team. And now it's Coleman moving to the front. A big surge on the front here, Nathan. 10 watts a kilo. Trying to really accelerate and maybe get a little bit of a lead before the first part of Libby's Hill.
Interesting to see. I mean, Libby's Hill is like a 1 minute all-out effort amongst a group like this. Clayton here following it up very closely here, maybe just trying to do some pure power against the rest of the pack here, and maybe setting up Townsend perhaps, because Townsend's sitting in at about 5 watts per kilogram or so, while Coleman and Clayton here continue on at this 8 to 7 watts per kilogram. Mold there, also there might be a little bit of some tactics between the pro teams, because this is nothing but pro teams, 1, 2, 3, 4 here at this point, all trying to go off the front and make it so that these community teams have to make the chase. This looks like a great setup to have a gap going in here. Vitus Pro Cycling's coming with us as well. They're saying, no, community teams, we got pure power, it looks like, and trying to get away before we even hit the KOM.
Well, this is amazing stuff here. Vitus Pro Cycling on the offensive. But I tell you what, Christopher McGlinchey, of course, the winner of Bologna for Vitus Pro Cycling, has gone straight to the front as well. Rory Townsend up there as well. An exceptionally climber. Look at this. Joey Walker for Vitus Pro Cycling has come to the front, moved across from Madison Genesis. He is the British road race champion in criteriums. Great to see him, a real dark horse. He is a rider with a lot of power. But now, unsurprisingly, Nathan here, all of the stats in terms of watts per kilo have gone to red, and riders here looking for the right sort of power up as well. The one you want on this climb, of course, is the feather. This is it, Libby's Hill.
Yeah, we do have Gavin Dempster on the front here, winner of In Real Life event in London a few years back. And this, I've been commentating on this boy for quite a while. Very strong rider. Levi is there with him as well, though. Extremely light climber, 11 watts per kilogram coming in. They're looking to break things completely at this point, actually. Jonathan Levi at 11 watts per kilogram, 10 watts per kilogram. This might be a sub-minute effort here over the top. Absolutely demolished the climb, opened up 2 seconds, and they need to continue on, though, at this point if they are going to hold hold on to any kind of a gap. This really is a moment of truth for the rest of the pack because it has gone way back, really stretched out now. But we are seeing Levi with 10. Dempster, it looks like 9. Brandlin there coming in for 3rd. Larson, Apers, Diner, Viasen, Gardner, Ollie Jones, and Holden Camus there for indoor specialists. Who is going to get back on terms, though, with the rest of this group? Because immediately we are going into the downhill and then back into 23rd Street, and that is really where things can break apart. Indoor specialist 33. Wow, look at how close it is, though, still. Within 9 points, it's going to come down to the finish line, I think, as well as this next little kicker, and 3 kilometers to go to the finish line at this point. It looks like it's a battle between Team X, KRT, Canyon ZCC, and indoor specialists.
Indeed. Remember, the top 25 riders across the line get points. So we've got another King of the Mountains to come. And as you said, Nathan, it won't be very long before we hit the climb of 23rd Street. It's shorter, but it is a lot steeper. It's 260 meters at 10%. This really could sort them out. A lot of riders already using a couple of power-ups. They'll go through a little archway in a minute. They're actually on the lowest slopes of the climb. Once they hit the cobbles, this is where the gradient really starts to rear up. Everything has gone red. Big numbers being put down here. Levy now from Kiss Racing on the front. It looks like he's being overtaken by Larson. Big moves and some splits starting to come now as they cross the summit of the final categorized climb. Look at the big gaps here, Nathan.
Yeah, and Larson actually with that feather power comes up with some speed. He looks like Larson able to grab that 10 points real quickly with just a wheel length or toe from Levi. Mirror there, team draft. Brandlin looks like Diner then coming through for 5th. That's going to be a group that's going to try and get away, it looks like, but it looks like things are getting shut down pretty quickly by the chase. Like you said, a lot of points across the finish line. It's going to be about governors over the top here now, and it looks like we're getting the team points here coming on in. We'll be able to see how things stand before we actually hit that finish line, and it looks like we've got indoor specialists very closely followed by Canyon ZCC, then KRT, Team Draft, and Team Experimental. Experimental and Draft, along with Fusion ECT, actually almost everyone on the board there has a chance here to still take a win if they're able to, if they've saved everything to the line, though, is what it's going to be all about. And there's a 4-second gap back to a chase group at this point containing, it looks like Townsend, Walker, Dempster, and Jones. So there is a breakaway at this point of what looks to be about 15 riders or so that are going to have a huge opportunity to take down a ton of points for these team point standing in just a moment.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this is where the road starts to drag up. It is a long way all the way to the Grosvenor Street finish. You can just see the road ahead. It does drag all the way to the line here. There is no downhill. This is the Flamme Rouge, 1 kilometer to go. And as you pointed out correctly, Nathan, there is an elite group of riders who are going clear. But because of this gradient, there is still the possibility of riders really leaning on the power and swelling this group. We've got a couple of little hairpin bends, and then it opens out with about 350 meters to go. But all of the riders you expect to be in the mix are there. The big thing is, has anybody got the all-important feather power up as we head on to the really meaty part of this climb?
Yeah, and Diner here, I think, because of the lack of a power-up that actually is going to have and make any kind of an impact in the climb or on the sprint section, he used the drafting power-up as he came out of the pack, and that was to take speed through to the front of the pack and then went on a full-on attack from the bottom to make the chase happen. I saw 3 or 4 Innovation riders at the front end of the group heading into the finish line. I think Innovation have put all their chips into the final, trying to grab as many points as they possibly can across the finish line because they were not really involved in the team standings up until this point. Diner has a 4-second gap, though. This might stick at this point. Vinton trying to close things down, but Philip Diner has gone from so far out. He's got almost 5 seconds over the top. If he continues at 500 watts right now, he could keep this speed, but Vinton looking to close this down. It looks like 9 watts coming from him. Are they going to shut it down here, Matt? This is all coming right to the line.
Well, the German rider has actually opened up the gap to 5 seconds, but his power has dropped. He's now holding 6 watts a kilo, and it's Christensen closing in at 4 seconds, so 2 seconds now, and he's actually putting out more power. This drag to the line is almost interminable, very difficult. You can see the finish line, but it just does not come. The gap is closing now. 1 second for Dagner. He is holding on, but it looks like he's going to be swept up within sight of the finish. What an absolutely rip-roaring finale this is.
And it looks like it's going to be Hug. Hug at the line here, just barely. No, Brantlin timed it perfectly. It looked like with that feather power up, they catch the attack from Diner. Poor Diner there. It was one of those situations, 50 meters, 40 meters. Can I just hold on? And no, he is caught by the group hard charging, but it wasn't a peloton. It was kind of more of this drawn out attack because of the reality of suffering over the top of Governors. Brantlin then ends up taking it down with Hug, founded by Vitten. As I said, innovation really waited for those final moments here, grabbing 24 and 23. Alex Weston, Christensen coming through, actually followed up by Line. It'll be awesome there for Canyon DCC for 6. Philip Diner trying to make that attack early on because of a lack of a power-up, it looked like. Almost made it happen, but able to hold on for 7th, followed by Michael Apers for BZR getting on the board there. Roy Townsend then also for Canyon Blorholms, and then it's going to be Matt Gardner for Indoor Specialist. That's your top 10 so far. We got another page of results coming up here in just a moment, as it does go all the way out through 25th place. Christopher McGlinchley coming through, the winner of the last stage for the men, 15 points for them for Vitus Pro Cycling. Warren Muir for Team Draft will be Max Fayer for Innovation, followed by Jonathan Levi, grabbing a lot of points in the day. Levi was very active on the KOMs. Big shout out to him on those efforts, and still coming through for 14th place. Joey Walker, followed up by Ryan Larson, Alex Coleman, and then it will be Alessandro Barra, Aaron Coles, and Alex Patton. I think we do have maybe one more list, but it does go out to 25. But I mean, what an amazing attack there from Diner. He really tried to make it happen there, it looked like, Matt, but unable to hold on. And it looked like there were a couple of teams that were all in on that finish. As SZ and Innovation, we didn't see them in the sprints or the KOMs much.
Exactly, a few of the teams. I mean, when you've got only a 16-kilometer course, only 20 minutes of effort, there's only so much you can actually do. And there's only so much you can actually concentrate on. 2 hotspot sprints, and those 2 King of the Mountains, they're all important. But ultimately, the finish is essentially kind of double points as well. But what ZCC managed to do was get positions 4, 6, and 7. Philip Dydner really did light up that race. He was dying near the end. But this course always makes for a very, very exciting race. But it was brave. It wasn't to be, and perfect timing to take the win, but still a solid ride. And hopefully we're going to have a look in a few moments' time at what that's done to the team positions. Of course, this is all about the team.
Yeah, definitely amazing racing, super fast. And I think we're heading back on over to OJ and Rhea for a look at how the race played out.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Nathan. We've got the team points coming up in just a second. Once again, thank you to Nathan and to Matt for a fabulous commentary of that race. Matt, just so you know, is wearing those shorts that he got in 1992 to do the commentary. Yes. He got them at the Olympics. There was Olympic shorts from 92. Amazing race, Ray. Amazing.
Yeah, it was really interesting because the first half, you called it just before, it was a race of 2 halves. The first, you saw a big group of the peloton of up to 60 riders, and almost nothing happened except for maybe a couple riders just testing to see what would happen. We saw Merritt go out and nothing really happened.
Honourable mention. I'm a big fan of a doomed attack. Big fan.
Yeah.
As Adam Mills said, he deserves an awful lot of merit.
Yeah.
Which I think was the best joke that we had in the chat today.
But also Nathan often mentions it, like just getting a little bit of TV time, like getting out the front to see if anyone's going to respond, and if they don't, just get sucked back up into the grid.
It was early. He sort of went out the back as well. He got back in, and he was there animating the race later on. But then we hit the climbs, and those selections, they were, I mean, orange numbers all round. I could feel myself getting a little bit bilious just looking at what they were knocking out.
My notes were watt bombs.
Yeah.
Every time
watt bombs.
Watt bombs. Every time we hit the hill, they just attacked, and you weren't really sure who was going to make the first King of the Mountains right until the very end. But they attacked. First hill, as you would expect, broke everyone up, and then it was almost a trail of riders going from each of the hills in the King of the Mountains.
We're going to have a replay of the end in just a second. First, let's take a look at the team points to see who ended where. Remember, it was a team competition. Canyon ZCC take top spot with 98 points. They got that coming over the line at the end because it was Indoor Specialists who were ahead with 77 in second, and Innovation third with 63. Canyon ZCC with the amazing top. They've just released a fan jersey, which is just
I know how bad you want this.
A vision in pink. I'm going to have to order myself one. So we saw Canyon ZCC. Once again, it's about tactics. It was their tactics that really did it for them then.
Yeah, and I remember Nathan saying at one point, do you think the pro teams have come together with a certain amount of tactics? Because there was a lot of playing going on with groups not really breaking apart, especially at the beginning. And then suddenly it was sort of tit for tat. So it was really, really interesting to see the pro teams and how they reacted compared to the community teams today.
They've got to do it. Let's take a look again at that end because it was fast, it was furious. Rhea, talk us through this. We can see here, this is Deigner. Who had gone. He was so close.
Yeah, and he
so
had
close.
a huge lead. But, again, we talk about timing and tactics, and he attacked really early on. I don't know if we had the distance to the line at that point, but suddenly everyone reacted and pushed through, and he ended up 7th in the end.
That last climb, I must admit, because there was 3 climbs towards the end.
Yeah.
We saw the first one, a big selection.
Yeah.
The second one, a selection again. That third climb, he was the only person to go. Everyone kept their powder dry for that final sprint.
Yeah, they did, and they were almost, I think, waiting to see what was going to happen. And as soon as he went, that's when people waited, and then attacked.
It's another fabulous race. Remember, if you want to race it, you can do stage 6. That is Richmond. Kicks off in a matter of hours. It'll be live on Zwift, 8 a.m. GMT. So if you want to do it before you go to work. No, it's a Saturday tomorrow. Before you take the kids swimming.
Well, some people might be working tomorrow.
Well, they could be, yes, indeed. Or it will be PST. It is 12 o'clock, I think, PST, if I work it out rightly.
Kick off.
You could. Yes, anyway. Midnight PST, I was right. Check it out, zwift.com/TDZ ride to see the event schedule. Pick an event that works for you as always, or check out the companion mobile app, which are on there. Plus, as you tick off the stages, you get the little colours and I'm so nerdy with that.
Yeah, 2 more to go.
If you want to see myself and Rhea race on it, you can do. I believe we're going to go for it Sunday
evening, yeah.
It's
going to happen.
Okay. If you star us, you'll see when we start. I also believe Hannah Walker's going to race and Danny Rowe. I think it's going to be the full squad.
Oh, fab.
So, yeah, interesting. You want to race with us, then please do. We're going C's.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next time out, we're going to be wrapping things up in Yorkshire. I want now Rhea Hubble to read the rest of this in her best Yorkshire accent. Go on then.
Oh my God.
Come on.
We didn't
Go on, you can do this.
In a Yorkshire accent. I feel like I'm going to insult
you can do
everyone. No, I can't do it. So join us for the lowdown on stage 7 because there is no way I'm going to do it. It's a double header where the men and women take on the track. Join us for Tuesday, 4th of February at 7 p.m. or 11 a.m. PST. There was no way I could do that. I would have insulted the whole north of England.
Which Canadian village of Yorkshire was that? Because that was not northern at all. Thank you for watching. Again, it's been great. If you want to re-watch it, you'll be able to find it on whatever platform you watch them on. The whole race will be there again. Thank you for watching. And remember, if you've got your pain faces, #Tour to Zwift. We want to see them. Rhea, thank you.
Thank you, OJ.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.